Welcome to Ignite and Inspire, a podcast by entrepreneurs who were once in your shoes. My name is Tina Hamilton. I'm the CEO and founder of MyHRPartner. Okay, so today we have with us Brandon Washington from Ron's Signature Sauce. And we're going to hear all about his cool background. It's pretty amazing, where he came from and what brought him to get involved with this and other things that he's doing. So welcome. Great to have you. So tell me a little bit about your business and, how you got started with it.
Okay, sure. So my business is Ron's Signature Sauce. And really what it is, it's a extension of a legacy brand called Ron's Ribs. And that's the brand, that's the business my father started, who was Ron.
And how long ago was that?
He started the business in 1984.
Okay.
Yeah, and he really started, he continued a tradition. So, his tagline was the South Street tradition lives on. And the business that he adopted ultimately was a barbecue spot called BB's Longside. And it was on the block for probably 40 to 50 years prior to him buying
Wow.
it. It has a rich legacy. And instead, my dad bought the property thinking he was going to turn it into apartments, but he couldn't get a loan. And he literally just changed the name of the business and hired the same people. And Ron's Ribs came to be.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you have told me proudly how famous and popular. So tell us about that this sauce was and the ribs were.
Listen, so Ron's Ribs, right? The way I like to tell you is that Ron's Ribs, you could compare Ron's Ribs to like Pat's and Geno's, but for like the African American culture.
Okay.
So one of the things that's rich about the business, it's located in a historically African American neighborhood. So a lot of the early migrants that came up here during the Great Migration, I think migrates is the proper term for it, but it might be wrong.
Not sure.
But
We'll take it.
yeah. So, everybody settled in this area of Philadelphia, and you have it has such a rich history in African American culture.
Yeah, sure does.
And so the rich legacy in the business in this historically African American neighborhood, my dad continued this business that he used to go to as a kid.
Okay.
Right. And
he used to go there as a kid.
Yeah,
so
he grew up
loved
right
the ribs.
next to. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He grew up right next door. Our family owned a barbershop or some sort of business next door. I think it was a barbershop. And my dad used to collect the money for his grandfather, who was the landlord, right?
Oh, okay.
And he grew up next to BB. And when B was done with the business, she was ready to go. My dad was like, let me buy the business off of him. And B was like, okay, I'm happy to hear that. I heard this story again recently on my dad's street naming. But
so they named a street after your dad.
Yeah, they named it 1600 block of South Street is called Ronald K. Washington Way now.
I love that. And because it wasn't just the sauce that got him that sign.
Nah.
Tell us about that. Because your dad's legacy is, I know you're very proud of it and you're continuing it.
100%. So my dad was one of those early, I want to say, activists. During the activists, during the Martin Luther Kings and Muhammad Ali's and Malcolm X's, he was fighting that fight. And what happened was he went to Howard University, and he was there for a year. And Howard University is the Ivy League of HBCUs. It's the first HBCU. So he was really getting that woke education.
Sweet.
And unfortunately, my grandma got sick, and he had to move back to Philly.
Okay.
So he went to LaSalle University, transferred to LaSalle University,
Yeah,
got his business to get his business degree. And while he was there, things were still active. So what he did was, and a lot of people in the area did, they started these black student unions, and they pioneered this all city walkout where all the blacks I forget what the term is, as a form of activism, they did an all-student walkout.
Okay.
And my dad was one of the orchestrators of that. And then with the Black Student Union, he organized this African-American Heritage Festival at LaSalle University. And
He organized this.
Wow,
he's a real mover, yeah.
Listen. So one of the headliners for the festival was Muhammad Ali.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and the way he got Muhammad Ali was sheer entrepreneurial grit. He went to Muhammad Ali's house and didn't leave until he agreed.
He went to his house?
Went to his house. Went to his house.
He had some guts, your dad.
Oh, dude, that was Ron. And that's why people loved him, because he was a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, like if you needed something, if you needed help, if you needed support, if you needed somebody to fight for you, a lot of people went to my dad. You know?
No kidding.
And that was the type of person he was. And he graduated from LaSalle University. It was a week-long festival. Had people like Sammy Davis Jr. there.
Wow.
Larry LaSalle writes about it almost every other year, if not every year.
Wow.
During Black History Month or Martin Luther King, or January for Martin Luther King Day. And then he started working as a district manager for MAB Paints, which is now like Sherman-Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, he just gave a lot of people opportunity. And, you know, he always had ambitions to be his own boss, because we come from an entrepreneurial family. Like, it started with our my great-grandfather, who was his grandfather. And he had a portfolio of like 20-plus properties.
Wow.
And this was like a man who had nothing.
Yeah.
But he had 14 kids. And he had all of them learn how to hustle. So, like, my grandmother, for example, she can cut hair, but, like, could literally probably sell your clothes all that you're wearing to you, you
So
know?
they all just had that instinct.
That instinct, yeah. I mean, it's to be expected. One of the famous lines I hear in the family is, you know, Grandpa had 14 kids, and he said, "Whoever brings me home the most money is my favorite." So,
that'll do it. That'll make you entrepreneurial, if nothing else, right?
Listen.
You want to be Dad's favorite. So that's where your dad came from.
Yeah.
And then he bought this bought this business.
Yeah.
And continued it.
And continued the legacy, you know, and it just got really popular and famous. Some of these guys, Hall & Oates, they used to go to Ron's all the time. Yeah,
lots of famous names there.
I know. Like, I didn't know until I knew. There was this picture that we always had, and I posted it on the internet, and I was like,
yeah.
And in a Philly Vintage Facebook group.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
That was the word. That was bad, because I didn't know who they were, and like literally, I got like 400 responses like Hall & Oates, Hall & Oates,
Sure,
Hall
I mean they were a
Hall
big deal back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So you eventually took over, right? Tell us about that.
So, what happened was, my dad passed away in 2002.
I'm sorry about that.
And then, in 2002, I was only like 13, 14. I literally just finished my freshman year of high school. And my uncle started to run it. And
okay.
He ran it up until 2010. And then after 2010, what happened was the South Street Bridge, it stopped a lot of traffic in an area, and the business ended up dying out, and we just closed.
Oh.
So, you know, it's no longer there. We still own the bricks, but you know, the business no longer exists. And I didn't get my shot, but I always wanted to.
Okay.
You know, but what I learned as I was exploring the possibilities is that it's an entrepreneurial story too. So a lot of people don't invest in food businesses because they're high risk.
And it's a lot of work.
And it's tons of work.
Right. My dad owned the corner deli, and he told me to never go into this business. It's 7 days a week, nonstop. It's hard.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, and.
But you started something though. You kept it going.
100%. 100.
So tell us about that.
So you know, my passion is teaching. My passion is education. So like I said, my dad was an activist.
Right.
And one of the things I noticed that was a big a division between us was just knowing. Like between the people who needed it and the people who had, right? The haves and the have-nots was just knowing, right? And you know, it always inspired me to become an educator, because that was one of the luxuries I had because of who my father was and who my mother was. My mom had a white-collar job,
mm-hmm.
you know, but she got that through God. You know, that was miraculous. She was she ended up working at Merck, and because of that, I was able to go to great schools, and
right.
I was exposed to great people to learn these skills. And so I decided to become a teacher. So I'm actually a Woodrow Wilson Teaching Fellow. I applied for a program to get my master's degree in STEM teaching.
Good for you.
Yeah, and here I am working as a high school teacher and an adjunct professor. But I wanted to do something for myself, right? And so I started a nonprofit at one point to provide STEM education opportunities for to help people, train people for 21st century skills.
Wow.
You know, because that was another thing. Like, my dad had a best friend who went to LaSalle too, who started a tech business. He hired me as his graphic designer. I teach graphic arts now, and I know all about technology because of that.
Nice.
You know.
So every time somebody gives you an opportunity, it's
pay it forward.
Right? And you're doing that. So tell us about that. You have that business and you have the sauce. So let's hear about that.
And that's how the sauce came to be. There was, during the pandemic, we needed space in the community to activate pods to do anything, right? Like a public space. And I was part of this board, South of South Street Neighborhood Association. We moved into this beautiful space, this huge space. But it seemed like they wanted to do anything with it because this organization always had a space, but it was COVID. So I took it upon, I had always wanted to establish my own like learning center that had the technologies that could provide the STEM education. Like, you need a computer in order to learn how to use computers, right?
Yes, definitely.
So I asked the board if I could become a co-tenant. My organization could become a co-tenant, and I would take on part of the lease. And I asked them if I raised $5,000 by, was it January 1st, can I do so? And I went to social media, put a post out, made a little video. No, I didn't even make a video. I put a GoFundMe page out.
Okay.
And then a publicist found it, and he gave it to a colleague of his, and got in the paper, and I was able to raise $5,000 for the space.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then 6 months into it, 3 to 5 months into it, I started to realize, like, begging's not doing it. I need to figure out some sort of income stream to help.
So you were helping to train kids or adults or?
So I wanted to provide STEM education opportunities for the youth.
For the youth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with the climate of the city right now, but the youth are the ones doing a lot of the activity that we don't like. A lot of the violence, especially the gun violence.
It's been tough, right? Like,
Listen,
Philadelphia's becoming like one of the scarier places to be. Right?
Yeah.
It just is. Not like it used to be. I mean, it was
always
a little rough. It's a city.
No, but it's crazy now. Like, I've never been scared in Philly before.
Yeah.
Until like recently, where it's just like it's really that random.
That's right. Yes.
And so I wanted to do something to address that problem. What's happening? You have a population of youth that didn't have guidance, that didn't have parents, and the social media don't help.
No.
And so I wanted to create an opportunity to address that issue, and the only way we're going to do it is in front of these kids. So I wanted to create a community center or a community space that would allow me to engage with the youth that wasn't controlled by the government or another entity.
Okay, yeah.
So
how did you bring kids in? How did you find them?
I put it on social media. I have a network. I went to public school, I went to private school, and I went to parochial school in the city. And I just made sure I kept in contact with people. One thing I noticed about my dad growing up is that he had a vast network as if social media existed.
Nice.
And so I inherited his network of individuals and built my own growing up. And so this wasn't new. When I was like, I'm doing this, everybody's like, I know. How can we help? And
because they were used to your dad helping. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it wasn't new? I've always had this ambition.
And you've always been that.
I've always been like that. I've always wanted to help someone out because that was the environment I grew up in.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like weird if you're not helping someone out. If you help someone else out, you're helping yourself out.
Absolutely. There's no question. So you started this program but needed funding. You needed money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let me, how do I get some money? Well, I got this rich legacy. Let's see if I can take advantage of it. Told people I was going to bring the sauce back, or we got it in the paper, and then, what was it? We got a special on it about it, a whole special about it. And from there, the sauce was back too, and that was buzzing. And I did pop-ups all summer. I did, what else did I do?
Now, wait, did you do this packaging, or was this something that existed?
I designed all that.
You designed all this?
Yep.
Because before it was just in the restaurant, or did he sell it?
Yeah,
outright?
he used to sell it out of the.
Okay.
Yes, he used to sell it out of the restaurant, and I just bottled it, made the design, did all the work. There was an incubator business that helped with bottling sauces.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so I just reached out to them. Now I'm working with Rutgers Food Innovation Center to do it myself, and I'm going to use that's what I'm trying to do now, is use their facilities to make a large batch, because I've just been cooking out of my aunt's kitchen at her food business.
No kidding. You're doing this packaging all by yourself?
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to do with the STEM program and with the sauce, or is it one or the other?
So what I want to do is sell the sauce, get the sauce out there, create a consistent stream of income from the sauce, and then funnel those funds into the nonprofit. I want to convert. Like I said, I still own the bricks. The space that I originally established, the board that organization that I was with, it's changed dramatically.
Okay.
Yeah, gentrification at its finest.
Yeah, it's starting to get that way. Yeah.
And they just don't want the same things that I was trying. They're not trying to address the situations I was trying to address.
Right, because gentrification is great, but if it's just pushing people into another neighborhood, it's not helping anything.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, and that was another motivation. One of the reasons I'm able to still be in my neighborhood is because I had access to a good education that allowed me to establish a good skill in order to create a career. And so again, I wanted to provide those opportunities, but not everybody has a dad who has a friend who will give you a job so you have high school experience working on a computer.
Absolutely not, and especially in Philly, there's a lot of help needed, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you do you have? Is it like a regular thing where you have a regular stream of students coming in, or
so right now it's on pause. Right now I have to do some regrouping because I got pushed out of the space. I wouldn't say pushed out, but I don't want to deal with them. The organization. And then I come to find out, they're actually going to vacate the premise. So
it's your building, though?
No, it's not my building.
Oh, okay.
This particular space that I was fundraising for.
Yeah.
It belongs. The tenant, the primary tenant is SOSNA, South Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
Yeah, and so.
Oh, you did say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they've decided, from what I heard, is that they no longer want to use the space. So, I don't know. I'm going to try to. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I think this weekend, I'm going to put out a social media post and just ask anybody if they want to help save this space, and and maybe somebody will, maybe somebody won't. Who knows? But that place is no longer around. So what I'm doing is I partner with a bunch of different organizations that have spaces.
Okay.
So I'm trying to provide programs in different neighborhoods. We got a space in Allegheny now. There's a space we have a space at Billy Penn Studios.
Oh, perfect.
And then, but it's not my neighborhood.
Okay, you want it back in.
I want to walk to it after school and bring my daughter to it so I can do it with her.
Yeah.
I want to protect the kids in my neighborhood.
Right.
First, before I do the rest of the city,
So you don't have your father's building anymore?
I do have it.
Oh, you do have that?
Yeah, so now that I'm no longer at that space, I'm fundraising to convert the dining room, the old dining room of our building, into a functional space.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that way no one.
Because you already own the building, which is half the battle, right?
That part.
So it's just getting it designed.
I have a design. I just need the money.
Okay.
I need the time to outfit it. But if I had the money, I could delegate groups to do the work.
And that's where the sauce comes in, because you want to start like marketing that harder and making that your business.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have a future in mind for the school that you're doing? Like, do you have something in mind, like how you want to grow it or build it, or you want it to just be a local,
I want it to be a digital community.
Okay.
I want to kind of foster engagement and education on online channels. So, like, I guess best case scenario, end goal, a VR AR situation where like you hop on you hop into a classroom remotely, during allocated times, where you're connected to a Discord community that's constantly funneling information to you, that's of value. You're part of a esports team that competes, and learns how to work as a team and develop social skills. But ultimately, I want to create some sort of digital component that where we, because that's where all my kids are. They're not in reality. They're on their phone. Like they're like this all the time, And I feel like that's the better solution. But then I want to have a space where we can interact, and develop, other products, technologies, or whatever the case may be. But so my vision really is to convert the second floor into a learning lab.
Okay.
And just funnel educational opportunities and like community building activities within that space. And
then the sauce will be your other.
And the sauce will fund it.
We'll fund it.
Yeah, the sauce will be how I can pay my bills and do and ultimately, hopefully, be my 9 to 5, like the equivalent to my 9 to 5 income.
Right.
And resources, and then my passions and will come from the nonprofit where I can still teach without and allow myself to be my own boss and teaching versus
awesome.
Teaching for someone else.
Do you have any kids that have like gone through your program that have gone on to do some things, or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, I was able to provide STEM education opportunities for like a season during COVID. Then I caught COVID, and I kind of like stopped things for a second. And then by that time, I didn't have a space that I felt comfortable facilitating instruction.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what was happening is I went from asking for money, right, to kind of focusing on the product. And then I realized I still needed to ask for money, but I needed to give them a reason. So I focused on programming.
Okay.
Got a solid program off. And then still, by that time, I was no longer able to hold on to the space. So I went back into focusing on funding, because with funding, I have leverage, right? With capital, I have leverage. So either I could use that money to, come up with another arrangement with the organization, or I could use it to outfit my space so I can make sure I can do what I need to do. That was the vision.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the vision.
Great.
Mhm. So yeah, that's what I'm working on now, and just
that's great.
trying to pay bills and raise a 6-year-old.
Not easy thing to do, to have the school and have the sauce, and it sounds like your sauce already has a following, so hopefully it's just getting good marketing behind it and good.
That's what I'm banking on, to be honest. It's just like, again, came in here today.
Yeah.
Security guard. I said, "Oh, what's that in your hand?" "Oh, barbecue. Check it out." "Oh, wait, Ron's ribs? Yo, they got the best ribs in the city." Happens all the time. I just love seeing how excited people get.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to get some tiny ones to hand out, little.
No, yeah. I have some I just didn't bring. I brought the
Oh, do you? Yeah, well, thank you for bringing them.
No problem.
I'm excited to try it. I've never tried it, so I'm excited. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of good things ahead, so I'm excited for you, and I hope to see good things. I hope to see Ron's on every, whatever, grocery store shelf
100%.
someday, and I'm sure that you'll do it. And I love the story behind it, that you're using it to help make change. It's not just about selling sauce, so that's a beautiful thing.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm sure your dad's very proud of you looking down.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I bet he is. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thanks
it, Brandon.
for having me.
If you'd like to know more about Entrepreneurs Organization or EO Accelerator or EO Ignite, go to eophiladelphia.com.